Good evening, everyone. My name is Daljit Singh, and I am the Chief Product Officer of FabDep. I have with me my colleague Harry. We are here to demonstrate you our Hyperledger-based product that is FabDep. FabDep is an enterprise tool that helps you to deploy and manage a distributed multi-cloud Hyperledger Fabric network with ease and precision. Right, if you can see, this is the FabDep overview, right? I'll explain like all these features in more detail as we move on, right? So before I dive deep into the FabDep features and demonstration, I would like to give you a brief background, like how we started and what we have done so far, right? So a couple of years back, when our team started working on some of the POCs, especially in Hyperledger Fabric, we realized that deployment of Hyperledger Fabric applications is basically a very tedious task. It takes a specific skill set, and it is quite error prone, right? So what we have done, we looked out for some of the tools like that helps you to deploy Hyperledger-based applications. But one for the other reason, right? We were not able to use those products because some of the tools, they were quite specific to CSPs, the cloud service providers, right? And some of the tools were in very initial stages. So at that time, we thought it might be a good idea to work on such a tool, right? So we talked to our community, the developer community, some of our clients, and we understood that it is a pain point of most of the users that are working on the application. So based on their feedback, last year we came up with first version of FabDep 1.0 and with very minimal features. So it was like a tool for developer community where they will be able to deploy, say, like Docker-based application. They can test their application on Docker environment, right? For, say, like a testing environment, right? So we have provided a deployment on say, like physical machines without using Docker and Kubernetes. And we were providing a Kafka-based consensus mechanism. And for the certificates, we were using Cryptogen. So the first version, it was supporting Fabric 1.2 version, right? We went into the market with this tool, and we got a very good response from the developer community. That is a good tool. And at the same time, we got very crucial feedback for our tool. Like all those features that are required in a production level environment, right? So the key feedbacks were like the Kubernetes support, as it is most widely used between the developers and the production environments. So Kubernetes support is required. A better consensus mechanism is required, right? A customized certificate authority is required for better security, right? And there were upcoming new features in FabDep, say like Fabric 1.4. So based on all these feedbacks and the newer versions of Fabric, so we recently came up with FabDep 2.0. We launched it last month, and right now it is in beta for say like next 3 months. So we will encourage our users to use FabDep 2.0 and give us the feedback so that we can implement it in our tool. So as we have a very, very short time for this presentation, right? So what I'll do, I'll touch base the key features that we have in FabDep 2.0, and I'll show you like how we have implemented those features in our tool. So if you see, the first key feature that we included in FabDep is like we are giving Kubernetes support to manage your say like environment or cluster, right? So from this tool, you will be able to create your Kubernetes cluster, and then you can deploy those applications on Kubernetes cluster. So let me just show you like how it is implemented in our tool, right? Before I'll just explain more for the Kubernetes cluster, so I'll tell you like the key features that we have in our tool, right? So on top left, if you see, like there are two major sections. One is like the cluster and another is the network, right? So in the cluster, you will be able to create cluster on multi-cloud. Say, I mean, you want to create a network with multi-clouds, like your consortium member have their own choice of cloud, right? So from here, you will be able to create those clouds, and then you can start deploying the network, right? And after cluster, you can see we have a network where like you can create a certificate authority. I mean, you can create a TLS server, the root servers, then you can create the orderer organizations, you can create your consortium members, right? The peers for those consortium members, then you can set up the ordering service. Similarly, you can manage the channel, the chain code and all, right? So I'll come in detail for all these. So let me just go through like how we can create a cluster from here, right? If you see like this is the cluster list, and so like here, I mean, we are creating a cluster. So if you can see, you can choose the virtual machines of any cloud. You can create a master node, you can create worker nodes based on your network requirement, right? So like what kind, like whether you want to have say like 4 nodes in worker nodes, right? Or as many as you want, right? So you have to just give the IP address, the username, the password, it will test the connection, and it will start creating the Kubernetes clusters on these virtual machines. And if you see like, this is the activity log. When you just click on this, you will see the things happening at the back end, right? So, I mean, it is showing the activity log for creating master node, for worker nodes. So like, I mean, this is a recorded video, right? But I mean, you can go on the fabricdeploy.com, you can register, you can download, right? And then you can start creating this. So like this is the first video for deploying your Kubernetes cluster, right? The second, the key feature that we have included is like, earlier we were giving, to create a certificate, we were using Cryptogen, right? So now we were creating a certificate authority by using Hyperledger CA. Here, I'll just show you like how you can create that. So while creating a network, right, so you can choose the cluster, and you can see like we are giving a registrar ID and registrar secret. So here we are creating a registrar CA that is called a TLS CA, right? So if you add the IDs, the secret, and the background, it will create say like TLS CA for you. And similarly, like these are the logs. And if you can see the logs, I mean, it is in threads, right? So say, based on your network speed, if say like one process stops somewhere, right, you can just click there and it will restart that process again. So these are the back activity logs for the CA. And a similar way, I mean, you can create the root CAs as per your requirement for all your consortium members, right? So okay, the third feature is like the fault tolerance, and that is the ordering services. So right now, like earlier we were giving a support for Kafka-based consensus mechanism, but in this version we have given the Raft support, right? So, I mean, similarly, So like when you start creating your ordering service, so based on your environment, I mean, you can create a solo service, or you can say like set up a raft ordering services, right? So if you say like set up raft ordering services, so it will set up 5 nodes at the background, and you can see that in activity log it is doing, say like, and all these operations are in like thread. So simultaneously, like it is setting up all the 5 nodes for you. If you can see like all the basic steps it is taking, creating the NFS, creating the Genesis block, right? Creating Kubernetes services, deploying Kubernetes services, you can see in the log. So in the meanwhile, like I mean, it is the activity log is running. So like what we have tested, say like with using this tool, you will be able to set up your say like environment maybe like in a 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes or so, because it needs very technical very minimal intervention, right? It is a user interface tool that will allow you to deploy all the steps, right? The next step is like, the key feature is like to deploy your smart contracts, manage your channel, manage your chain code, right? So I'll show you like how we are doing that. Here, like, I mean, you can see we are adding a chain code here where we can, right now we are supporting for the Node.js and Golang, but going forward, like we will be supporting a Java-based smart contract as well, right? I mean, you can choose the consortium members that you want. Here we are selecting a chain code, the consortium members, and like on which all peers you want to install the chain code. And similarly, like, I mean, it is creating that chain code, right? So the next step after you have added a chain code is to instantiate the chain code, right? So here you can mention the endorsement policy, and you can give say like the constructor function, the parameters, right? And here you can see like it will instantiate the code on all the peers where we have installed. So like, I mean, these were the key features, although like, I mean, we have a lot of other features that you can test, but like we have a very short time for this presentation, right? But if you want a detailed demonstration of this product, I mean, either you can just walk to us and we can show you a detailed demonstration, or you can directly register on, say, the fabricdeploy.com. You can book a demonstration there, and our technical team will show you a detailed demonstration, right? So, I mean, this is the product backlog that we have for the near future, where we are giving Java-based chain code, private data collections, some performance metrics, so like all those features that we want to include in the next feature, right? So that's it from today's presentation. Like, if you have any questions, so I can quickly answer, or I mean, you can walk us to our booth, and we are happy to assist you there. Yeah, please.
Yeah, do you have any plans to integrate like some sort of identity, for example, Visual Studio?
Sorry, I missed it. Can you?
Do you have any plans to integrate with some sort of ID like Visual Studio?
Visual Studio, you are saying? No.
With an IDE like Visual Studio.
Okay. No, not right now, because right now we have our own interface, right? By using that interface, you can be able to set up your complete infrastructure. Yeah. You are asking about the ID only, right?
IDE.
Yeah. So not right now. Yeah.
Any plans for
For OpenShift? Yeah, going forward, like right now we are supporting Ubuntu, right? So going forward, we will support OpenShift.
Timescales about that?
Sorry?
Timescales about that?
See, like we are in 3 months beta for this up till May, right? So based on the feedback we got, right? Then we will plan our backlog, and maybe like in 3 to 6 months we'll be with OpenShift. What is your? The Fabric we are supporting 1.4. Yeah. Thank you everyone for this.